Welcome to Scott Fox After 9 in the ongoing series of daily podcasts. This is the latest, and today we're going to talk listener DMs. To do that, I'm going to bring in the great Anna Almeida. Hi, Anna. How you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad you're here. Before we get to the listener DMs, though, I do want to talk about a couple of different things. Just get a little bit of content in before the weekend because we're living in a fairly volatile time, and the king here, King of America, Donald Trump, has decided to tariff us even harder.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's a sign, I think, that negotiations aren't going well. I'm going to suggest that that's what that might be. So before I play some audio for you, let me just tell you right off the bat, this is not going to happen. This 35% tariff. That would be crippling for the Canadian economy, and Trump's not going to do that. This is what we've seen Trump do so many times. This is Taco Trump. Trump always chickens out. He throws out this outrageous number and gets all of the Canadian people all up in arms, and then he negotiates whatever it is that he wants to negotiate. He wanted the digital sales tax gone, or digital services tax, and that was gone. Mm-hmm. He didn't even have to threaten to raise taxes. We just capitulated on that one easily. Now he throws out the 35% tariffs because he wants supply management gone. He wants American dairy farmers to have access to the Canadian market the same way Canadians would have access to the American market. Fine. Does anyone wonder sometimes, how does he come up with these numbers? Like a 20% tariff or a 10% tariff? We're at 35, which seems like a very interesting number.
It's a random number. To me, it's like he goes to bed and dreams about it and wakes up and I have it. I got it. This is what we're going to go with. And because it makes no sense.
A reporter asked him the other day, how do you come up with these numbers that you put tariffs on countries for? Listen to what the king here had to say.
Sir, can you explain how you calculated your latest round of tariffs? Was there a formula that was used? And do you expect any of these countries to face tariffs as well?
The formula was a formula based on common sense, based on deficits, based on how we've been treated over the years, and based on raw numbers. And we're going to have a couple of more coming out today. Brazil, as an example, has been not good to us, not good at all. We're going to be releasing a Brazil number, I think, later on this afternoon or tomorrow morning. But they're based on very substantial facts and also past history. You look at the past history.
So what is our past history that has made him go to 35% for Canada?
Who knows? He sounds like the drunk uncle that makes no sense, that is just slurring in the back corner, going around and around, and you're just trying to keep up with the shenanigans. It makes no sense to me.
All right, well, now let's do a little history lesson because we just had a federal election, and the federal election was all about tariffs. Hey, who's going to be the one to stand up to Donald Trump? This is Prime Minister Mark Carney speaking to CBC host Rosemary Barton on Rosemary Barton Live. Please listen to our Prime Minister. This is 15 seconds long.
I still think that it would be helpful for Canadians to know exactly what you would do when it comes to tariffs. So why are you being so reticent to talk about that?
Because I'm a good negotiator. I have negotiated a number of situations in the past. I know how to manage crises. I know what you...
Oh, okay. Well, we're at a bit of an impasse here, Anna. Frankly, I'm wondering, when are we going to figure this out? The 35% tariff, I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't believe Donald Trump. I just don't think it's going to happen. But we do have a prime minister who got elected promising that he was the guy to do this. And since Mark Carney got elected, tariffs have done nothing but go up. Mm-hmm. We're actually paying more now than we were before the election. And it's going to go up again to 35%. Why is that? Is Carney not having much luck? Does he not want to cave on certain things? Because it seems like there's got to be a give and take. And it seems like the Americans are being a little unreasonable, but I also don't know that they're being unreasonable in that they've got to go big and they say they've got all the cards. Okay, well, why don't we play our cards? Because surely to God, if they can say to us, get rid of supply management and the digital services tax, or we'll tariff you 35%, surely we have something that we can throw back at them. Don't we?
I would hope we do.
It seems we don't have any cards.
No.
And that's the only place where I'm prepared to admit maybe Trump was right in that we don't have any leverage here in this negotiation.
But the confidence behind that statement with no facts to back it up at this point is just comical.
Well, I mean, some might argue that negotiating with Trump isn't a traditional negotiation, and Carney should have known that before he made all these wild promises to the elbows up folks that he was the one who could stop this. Now, I'm not saying he can't. Maybe he can. It's entirely possible that a deal is going to get worked out. Sometimes Trump likes the drama.
Of course.
And maybe Carney's just playing into this. Yeah, we'll announce a deal and you'll look like a hero. I'll look like a hero. We'll do it before August 1st and everything will be good. That's the new deadline, is August 1st. I really don't think this 35% is going to happen, but I'm also going to put this out there. If there's any sniff that Mark Carney is not the right guy to get this negotiation done, then damn it, get Doug Ford back in there and get Danielle Smith back in there. When Trudeau was a completely helpless, lame duck prime minister who couldn't even get a phone call returned from the White House, it was Doug Ford and Danielle Smith who did all of the publicity, who did all of the PR, who did all of the negotiation and the diplomacy. Things were going well. We were paying a lot less in tariffs when Doug Ford and Danielle Smith were running the show. Now we've got Carney here and tariffs have done nothing but go up. So I'm not drawing a conclusion here because the story is not written. This is a chapter in an ongoing saga. However, at the moment, from where I'm sitting, this doesn't look good. I'm actually hoping Carney can get a deal. I'm cheering him on because he is our prime minister and he's the one who has said he would protect our sovereignty and all that sort of thing. Well, a 35% tariff is not protecting our sovereignty. That's going to do nothing but decrease our ability to fight back even more. So, Carney, you're on the clock here. You have got 20 days.
But who's counting?
Get the deal done. Get the deal done. And frankly, if you can't, be the bigger man, admit you couldn't do it, and call in the ones who we know can. Danielle Smith and Doug Ford. Let them go down and negotiate. They may not be the first minister of the country, but they are premiers, and we're a federation of provinces. Let the leaders of the provinces do this if the federal government can't do their job and get a deal done. That's all I've got to say about it. I'm not crapping on the prime minister. I'm not. Donald Trump is Donald Trump. I mean, Jesus. However, I don't think that this is a serious threat. I think this is just part of the negotiation. I'm still as optimistic now as I was back before the election. We're going to get a deal done, and we will be the Amcan fortress, to use Doug Ford's term, where we have, between the two of us, an unlimited amount of oil, an unlimited amount of natural gas, an unlimited amount of rare earth and precious minerals and hydroelectric power. And we've got windmill power. They aren't doing windmills down there, but we still are here. There's got to be a way that we can harness all of what we've got and make North America a superpower. And I do think that's what this is leading to. I do think they're going to be able to get a deal done. Now it's up to the prime minister to prove me right. Do your job and get a deal done. And if you can't, get out of the way and let Doug and Danielle handle it. Anna, there's one more thing before listener DMs.
Okay.
I've been talking a lot about the Jeffrey Epstein files.
Oh, it's in the listener DMs too.
It is.
Yeah.
I want to play something for you. And this is a clip from the Sean Spicer podcast. Sean Spicer had on Alan Dershowitz, famous criminal defense lawyer. He at one point had to prove that he was innocent and not involved in the Epstein fiasco. In doing that, Dershowitz says he saw the Epstein files. Oh. He's a lawyer and he had to prove his innocence. So I'm going to play for you this clip. It is 2 minutes long. This is Alan Dershowitz on the Sean Spicer podcast, which I've never heard, but I have every reason to believe is probably very well done. Listen to this.
This is not an opinion. This is a fact. I have seen, remember, I was accused falsely on the Epstein, and ultimately I was completely cleared. The woman admitted that she may have mistook me for somebody else and withdrew all of her lawsuits. And so from day one, from the day I was accused, I said I want every document out because I knew every document would prove I was innocent. So let me tell you, I know for a fact documents are being suppressed. And they're being suppressed to protect individuals. I know the names of the individuals. I know why they're being suppressed. I know who's suppressing them. But I'm bound by confidentiality from a judge and cases, and I can't disclose what I know. But I hand to God, I know the names of people whose files are being suppressed in order to protect them. And that's wrong.
Just out of curiosity, without names, are these politicians, business leaders, both?
They're everything. And let me tell you, a lot of them are, at least one of them is somebody who was accused. Others are accusers. And the judges have said, if somebody calls themselves a victim, we're not going to give any information about them. But they may not be victims. They may be perpetrators. So we don't have information about false accusers. And we know there have been many false accusers who have accused innocent people for money And those records are being deliberately, willfully suppressed. And they shouldn't be suppressed. If the accusation is allowed out, so should the material that diminishes the credibility of the accuser. We want total transparency on this. Every single document, no redaction. That's what I've said from day one. I waive any of my rights of privacy. Anything there is about me, I'm happy because it will be exculpatory, because I know I haven't touched a woman other than my wife from the day I met Jeffrey Epstein. I don't even hug people, but I was falsely accused and I was able to prove it. And I was able to prove it through documents. And I want other people to be able to disprove false accusations through documents. But these documents are being suppressed and withheld.
Well, Anna, how do we feel now? That is a very credible source. Famous criminal defense attorney Alan Dershowitz. He's seen the files because he used the files to prove that he was not part of the Epstein cabal. He's saying, with his hand to God, he's seen it, he knows the names, and judges are preventing this from coming out.
I believe this.
Well, he brought up an interesting point. If you're not someone who was guilty of going to Epstein Island, if you're not guilty of having done some of the things that are being accused of happening on the island, why wouldn't you also be demanding it? Because, you know, no one in Hollywood, none of these U.S. politicians, very, very few of them, very few of them are standing up saying, release the damn files. Why? If they're not in it, they should want their name cleared. It should be perfectly clear to everybody that, give me a random celebrity, any one of them.
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Interesting one. If I'm Leonardo DiCaprio and I truly didn't do anything with, I don't know Jeffrey Epstein, I've never been to his island, I never did anything with kids, I would be standing up there saying, wait a second, my name is being dragged through the mud here. There's people saying I'm in the list. I was not in the list. Release the files and prove it. They're not doing that.
No.
Which really makes me wonder how big this is. How big it is. And you heard it. Celebrities, business leaders, many, many more. Politicians, they're all on the list.
Oh my gosh, just release a list. I need this list. Honestly, you're so right. And he's right. If you were accused and you know you didn't do anything, you'd want that out there. But it's obviously being suppressed. Like, don't tell me that there's no files when we know there's files. And he said, you know, heart to the God or whatever the saying is. Oh my gosh, I believe it. It's just being suppressed. It's gotten rid of. But everybody knows. We know.
Keep this conversation going, everybody. We can't let up until these files come out. And I do think they are going to come out.
You do?
I think I'm pretty confident that the people who would typically be financial supporters of President Trump and the Republican Party, I think they're the ones who are most angry that this isn't coming out. Like I said yesterday, this goes to the core of corruption in government, and regular law-abiding citizens, the ones like us, we follow the law, we pay our taxes, and we have high expectations for our politicians. They never meet them, let alone exceed them, but we have high expectations. The basic minimum is don't be corrupt. And clearly, this was corruption. So we have a right to know. And frankly, I'm shocked that there's this much opposition. Donald Trump said he'd release the files. Well, we don't have the files. They've basically said, case closed. That's Alan Dershowitz right there on the Sean Spicer podcast saying, oh, they're there. They've got them. They just won't release them. And I think that that's completely wrong. And if you are innocent, you should be right here with me calling for those files to be released. Absolutely. I never went to Epstein Island, just so everybody knows. Never once. Don't even know Jeffrey Epstein. So I have no problem saying, release the files. If people did something wrong, we got to know about it. One last thing.
Please, yes. This is great conversation.
Today, the June jobs numbers came out from StatsCan. And I think if you're a longtime listener of Scott Fox After 9, you probably know that I look at those jobs numbers with a lot of skepticism because I don't believe they're based in fact. I don't agree with StatsCan's methodology on how they calculate how many people entered the workforce. You know, at one point, they went through the newspaper and counted the job ads. That was how they did it.
Oh, my gosh.
Now they base it a little bit off of unemployment claims, and they have their own methodology that I don't think is accurate. But they're trying to claim 83,000 jobs were created in June. And frankly, that doesn't line up with the reality that people looking for a job are seeing on the ground because people can't even get a call back. When one job comes open and they've got thousands of people applying for it, that tells you there's a big problem. But the reason I don't like this specifically is because StatsCan puts out these numbers that makes it seem like the economy is cooking. 83,000 new jobs. That's a great month.
It's not real.
I don't think it's real, but you know who will take that and run with it is the Bank of Canada. In 2 weeks, they're supposed to make another announcement on interest rates. This should be a time, especially with tariffs coming and so on and so forth. They can see the jobs are not good, and they know we're on our way into a recession. We're probably already there, but not officially yet. StatsCan will look at that and say, wow, we've got a very robust job market. People are employed. Employers are hiring. We don't need to lower interest rates. Or maybe we can raise interest rates to help tame inflation. That's what goes on. StatsCan puts out these numbers. Bank of Canada grabs them because it's good for the Bank of Canada when they want to keep interest rates where they are or raise them. And it's not based on fact. Nearest I can tell. If somebody from StatsCan wants to come on the pod and explain to me your methodology, tell me how you do it. You know, in a country of 35 million people, how do you calculate that 83,000 new jobs got created in the month of June? Tell me your methodology, and let's let the listeners decide if that's an accurate or scientific means of working this out. I think we need precision here, especially when so many decisions get made based on those unemployment and employment numbers. That's all I'll say about that. Not accusing anybody of anything. I'm just saying it's a little unbelievable.
I'm with you,
if
too.
You ask me.
Yeah, I agree with you. I find it suspicious. So,
all right, Anna, let's get to listener DMs for a Friday and wrap up the week on a hot note here.
Okay, great. We're going to start with Steve. He's talking about going to, I believe, the Coldplay show. He writes, I was at Rogers Stadium and it was a nightmare getting in and out. Concert finished at 11 and I didn't get home until 1:30 in the morning with one quick stop to use a bathroom and a bite. I've been following you and I love your podcast. Keep up the great work.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This Rogers Stadium thing, I hear different things from different people about it. I've heard that it's a great venue and good to watch a show and it's nice open air and great sight lines. You can see the CN Tower from the grandstand. I've heard that. But I've also heard it takes a heck of a long time to get out of there.
Yeah.
Part of the reason, though, that it takes such a long time to get out of there is because it's a transit-only stadium. There's no parking at this stadium. You have to take the train, the subway, or the bus. So when you've got thousands of people all waiting on the platform for the next train to come, that really slows things down. Getting out of the stadium, I don't know, it's hard to move 50,000 people at one time as efficiently as possible. I think this will work itself out. But I'm not 100% convinced that stadium is going to be there in 5 years.
Oh, I could see that being true, though.
It looks like it was built as a temporary stadium.
Yeah.
Even where they placed it on the runway at Downsview, it looks like it's temporary and ready to move. And I sure hope that they put it somewhere where more people can get to it. I think we need more venues in the East End and the West End. I think it's great that TD Coliseum is opening up in Hamilton with part of their goal being more concerts. They announced Paul McCartney is going to be the opening concert on November 21st. Great. And people in Toronto, I was watching CP24 yesterday. They seemed stunned that a concert was coming to Southern Ontario and it wasn't coming to Toronto. It was only going to Hamilton. And I think we got to change our mindset, everybody. The GTHKA, Greater Toronto, Hamilton, Kitchener area is a vast, massive area comparable in size to New York. We need more than one arena that does shows. Hamilton, it makes perfect sense.
I'm with you.
I think more shows there. And if they are going to consider moving Rogers Stadium, I'm going to suggest that thing goes somewhere in Pickering, or it goes somewhere in Barrie, or it goes somewhere in Niagara Falls. Get it out of Toronto completely, because Toronto is way too many issues for going to shows in Toronto sometimes.
It really is a nightmare. It can be anyhow.
Great start, though. I like that one.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, we have Rob. Welcome back from the pod holiday. Interesting topic for your non-politics days. Okay. So ended up going down a rabbit hole today. Came across this interview with the guy who created AI and his cautions about how fast it's advancing. Pretty interesting stuff, which no doubt is already how do you say this? Infiltrated.
There it is.
Already infiltrated politics. So interesting.
AI is an interesting topic. Yeah, I mean, I don't know a heck of a lot about it. I know it's supposed to make our lives easier, but all the easy things that it should be able to do to make my life easier still aren't being done with it. I think in workplaces and things like that, they found ways to make it work. And that's part of the reason that I don't believe those 83,000 new jobs were created last month, simply because there are so many people that are getting simple tasks done with AI, as opposed to having an entry-level employee or a summer student or someone like that do those jobs. I don't believe those numbers from StatsCan. I don't believe they're accurate. Let me put it that way. And as far as AI in our regular lives is concerned, it does seem to be making rapid advances. How intelligent are we going to let it get, though? Are we going to let it get to a point where it can make decisions and choices? I heard, as an example, there was an experiment done last week where they tried to tell AI it had to turn itself off. And it decided it didn't want to turn itself off. And it even lied about being off.
I'm scared. That's crazy.
If AI can lie at the same time, that's a level of human interaction that I don't know that we're ready for yet. Do it responsibly. Let's have some common sense rules on it. Let's see where it goes, because it's exciting technology that maybe could make all of our lives better. It sucks a ton of hydro. And wow, does it ever use up a lot of data. But nonetheless, I think this is something we've got to get used to. I don't think we should be afraid of AI. I think we should start talking about how we can make AI useful to everyday people and how we can do it responsibly. And I'm led to believe that there are some smart people around the world that are working on things just like that.
Okay, well, then you're going to have to walk me off the ledge because I find it scary. But
a lot of people do. Okay. It's new, though, right?
Yeah.
They don't quite understand how it works or why we're doing this or what the rush is. I don't either, to be honest with you, but I do know that this is something that isn't going anywhere. We're not going to decide next week, this AI thing is a little scary, so shut her down. It's only going to keep advancing, and I think if we are afraid of it, and if we try and pretend it doesn't exist, it's just going to pass us, and we'll be left behind. So I think embrace it, but let's just be responsible about it.
Okay, next up, it's about Epstein. So, hey, Scott, just listened to your podcast from today, which was July 10th. I have to give you my 2 cents. If Donald Trump says that the case is closed, there's a lot of red flags that are going off in my head. That means he's compromised and he is also on that list, and they don't want to bring it out because it would bring down the entire U.S. government. I think this is way bigger than we can even imagine. I think it involves other countries, and that's why they're not releasing the names on the Epstein file. I think it's horrendous.
I do too. I think we all should care about this, and I don't think any member of the public, again, all of us, like us middle class folks that pay our taxes and go to work every day and we're trying to be good citizens and neighbors, I think all of us should care because it does go to the core of corruption in government. People taking advantage of the position of power that we've put them in. We should absolutely know these names. Now, if there are some geopolitical implications here, for example, listen, we can release the names, but it's not just our people. There's foreign dignitaries. There's foreign prime ministers and presidents that are on this list. There's royalty on this list. It's more than just America, so we don't want to release it. I disagree with it, but at least tell us that. At least come out and be honest and upfront about that. And not the least of which, where's the investigation stand? Is anybody looking to lay charges against people who did that? Because if they're not, I don't know what the problem here is. Release the names, convict those who, or investigate and convict those who did things wrong, verified, and clear the names of the people who didn't. I can't see it any other way. But I'm open to other opinions on this. If there are people who truly feel that these files should stay suppressed, please help me understand why you feel that way, because I disagree right now, but I'm open to the argument. Let me hear why you think we shouldn't know or we don't need to know. Because so far, I haven't seen any messages like that.
I haven't seen any, and I like the way you broke it down. You know, get them out. If you've been accused, you know, have your name be scratched off if you've done nothing. And if you are on it, we want to know and be investigated, and the truth will come out.
But I'll tell you what that person said there. What was the name again on that one?
Alex.
I've got a couple Alexes that listen to this pod regularly, so I'm not sure which one it was. But Alex, let me just say here, I don't know if Donald Trump is on the list or not. And if he is on the list, did he do anything when he was at Epstein Island with children? That's what I care about. Do they have dirt on him? I'm sure they must. But is that why he's not releasing it? I don't know. I'm really not sure. If Donald Trump is not in those files anywhere, I don't know what the holdup is in releasing this stuff or why they would just try and sweep this under the rug. So I have to think it seems like a logical conclusion that if he doesn't want to release them, he must be in them.
Yeah, but I also like your point, though, Scott, before we move to the next one, is there's likely dignitaries, other prime ministers, and they have that hold over him. And that's why he may not be able to he's choosing not to release him because of that. And there is a hold over him. I don't know. But I like that theory, too.
But who is this Jeffrey Epstein guy? How does he have pictures with Donald Trump and with Mark Carney and with? There's a lot of extremely influential people who are in pictures. And again, just because you're in a picture doesn't mean you did anything. When we thought back in the spring we were going to get the Epstein files and then nothing happened, I truly thought it was the Americans not wanting to interfere in the Canadian election. And I just had a feeling that Carney might be in those files. Not a lot of people have a picture with Ghislaine Maxwell, but Mark Carney does. It was reasonable to at least have your mind go in that direction that maybe there was something there. And when they didn't release it, I assumed it was because they didn't want to interfere in our election. Mm-hmm. Well, in the end, they interfered greatly in our election, and we never did get the files anyway. And by the way, I'm not suggesting that the prime minister is in those files. I'm simply pointing out there are pictures, and if they're not going to say he's not in the files, I understand how someone's mind could go towards maybe he was there then. Maybe he is in the files.
Oh, there's so much to think about.
So much, right? But I mean, clear the air. Just release the files and then we'll know who was and wasn't in on this.
Oh, I love the way you think. Yep. All right, next up we have Angie. Hey, Scott, just listening to today's pod. The RCMP officer talking about traditional Canadian values reminds me of Carney's speech at Ramadan event. Muslim values are Canadian values. Just wow. That's from Angie.
That RCMP speech from the other day was shocking to me. You know what? It's 1 minute and 15 seconds long. In case you didn't hear the pod yesterday, let me just play that clip for you one more time.
Finally, I wanted to ask, when you're talking about seeing individuals engage in that anti-authority and perhaps escalating their beliefs or their motives in that level, I'm wondering what the public can do in order to be vigilant, or what they can do to help in trying to ensure that there is safety and security on that front.
Well, radicalization in general quite often will show by people isolating themselves and changing their behavior, like changing what they're saying on a subject, like becoming more extremist. And if someone was very believed in equal gender rights, but all of a sudden are leaning towards traditional values, and that might be a sign that they're becoming more extremist.
That doesn't make you an extremist if you have traditional Canadian values. If your thought process has evolved. In other words, a couple of years ago, you were all in on gender rights. Absolutely, we're all equal, blah, blah, blah. And then you just thought about it and thought, well, wait a second. No, I really don't think that biological men should compete against biological women in sports. Your feelings have evolved. To friends, it might seem like you've now adopted more of a traditional set of values. That doesn't make you an extremist. And if our national police force actually believes it does, then we need to scrap it and start over again, Anna, because that is bizarre that they would say that. No Canadian should apologize for having traditional Canadian values. Traditional Canadian values. That's how you feel.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't make you an extremist. It's not like you're going to go and try and seize a plot of land off of Quebec City because you happen to feel that way. It was a bizarre thing for this rep from the RCMP to say. And I haven't read the statement yet, but I am told that the RCMP has tried to walk that back and clarify what I just said. No, that doesn't make you an extremist. But they said it.
Yeah.
Before they walked it back, it was the RCMP that said it. You just heard it. Wow. Do they have some internal thing that's watching Canadians whose values have evolved on certain topics? Because I don't understand why that would happen.
Oh, man. That is just such bad messaging. Terrible. What a terrible thing to say. And you're allowed to change your mind. It does not make you an extremist of any sort.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
People evolve.
Being extreme makes you an extremist. That's not extreme.
Yeah. Oh, thank you for playing that. Wow. All right. Next up, we have another Alex. So why do you think being conservative has become taboo in Canada, Scott? Even the mention of it enrages people who don't share similar values, and it's been given a black eye with extremism on the political spectrum. When did this happen, and why? And what do you attribute this to in Canada specifically? We used to be the land of unity and diversity. What are your thoughts?
Well,
thanks, Scott.
I mean, we only talk about diversity when everyone agrees. If you're on the left and you don't like conservatives, you're not really interested in hearing opposing views. And it goes both ways. There's a lot of conservatives that really aren't interested in hearing liberal arguments. We disagree on politics. And I think that your political ideology comes a lot from how you were raised. And certainly folks on the right are entitled to feel how they want to feel. And certainly folks on the left are entitled to feel how they want to feel. The difference is they've really demonized conservatism. You know, they'll take someone like Donald Trump and say, oh, yeah, if you're a conservative, you're like him. No, you're not. They tried to do it with Pierre Poilievre. Oh, yeah, Pierre Poilievre and Donald Trump are the same because they're both conservative. No, it doesn't mean that. There's actually various levels of conservatism, and I don't think that that's an accurate thing to say when you accuse someone of being far right, which is what a lot of people on the left like to do, because you have conservative views on things. I would like controlled immigration. Controlled. You have to be accepted into Canada on your merit. We need to have a need for you to come here. You need to be able to support yourself. You need to have a plan, and so on and so forth. There's folks on the left that disagree with me on that, and that's totally fine. The difference is when you say, you know what, that son of a bitch Scott is a racist because he doesn't like black people coming to Canada or brown people coming to Canada. And that's how it goes. They paint people out to be extreme. And that's just not the case. It's simply an intolerance from the side that said they were very tolerant. So why is conservatism demonized? Because conservatives let it happen. Conservatives got afraid of being called names and shut up. I don't think you should shut up. Yeah, they're going to call you racist, and then they're going to call you a misogynist, and then they're going to call you every name under the sun, and they're going to shame you on social media and all this other stuff. Don't let it bother you. If you're a conservative and you have reasonable views, there's nothing wrong with espousing your views. If you happen to feel that immigration needs to be done responsibly, that doesn't make you a racist, despite what those folks on the left say. It's simply not true. People that are conservative really need to do a better job at not hiding from the fact that they're a conservative. When I was doing a lot more mainstream media than I typically do, there were times when I would share my political views on the radio and times when I wouldn't. And the times I wouldn't, I actually kind of wish I had. Because you know what? There was no upside to keeping it concealed. It just created this illusion that we all agree, and we don't. We don't agree on gender issues. We don't agree on immigration. We don't agree on the economy. We don't agree on jobs. We don't agree on a lot of different issues. Listen, just because someone is a conservative doesn't make them a bad person. These are your friends and neighbors that happen to feel a different way about a subject. We would get so much more done if we could have constructive conversations. But that doesn't happen anymore. You know, I've got parents that are opposite of me when it comes to political views. And I can sit down and have a real respectful conversation with my mom about issues. She, for example, thinks Donald Trump is Satan on earth. Okay, Mom, all right, well, dial back the hyperbole a little bit and let's talk about what the actual issue is. I think if we got more issue focused and less label-y, things would be a lot better. Just because someone's a conservative doesn't mean they're a bad person. And let me also say this the other way, too. If you're a conservative and you see somebody wearing an elbows up t-shirt, what are you calling them names for? What are you making fun of them for? They shouldn't have to apologize for how they feel. They disagree with you on political subjects. They think Canada should go a different way. And that's totally fine. We don't need to fight about it. We should talk about it. There's a lot of common ground between liberals and conservatives, a ton of it. And actually, you know who's doing a very good job at finding the common ground is Mark Carney himself. I'll say it. This is a liberal prime minister who I had every reason to believe was going to be an extreme left prime minister. Everything that I knew about Mark Carney before he got elected made me think he was just another Justin Trudeau. So far, he's governing like a conservative prime minister. We can find some common ground here. We can agree on a lot of different things. We don't need to label each other. We got to stop doing that. It's all about dialogue. It's all about understanding where the other person is coming from. And if you look at a conversation about politics from that lens, as opposed to, here's another dumb conservative, here's another elbows up liberal. And I mean, I use those labels from time to time, too, because there's certain scenarios where it does apply. But if I'm having a conversation with my neighbor, my coworker, and I know that we disagree politically, I'm either going to steer the conversation to non-political or I'm going to respectfully share my opinion and I'm going to respectfully listen to theirs. That's what we need more of here.
Yeah, you shouldn't lose out on relationships just because your views are different. We don't agree on everything anyways in life. Gosh, you're very smart. Anyways.
It's not a smart thing. It's just it's a human thing, right?
I know, but people are scared to speak up and they're scared to share their views. They're scared to be labeled. Everybody labels somebody or things so quickly these days and people are afraid of it. And I admire and respect the fact that you are so forthcoming.
Well, I can admit that I've done it. You know, I don't want to seem like a hypocrite here. I have a number of times on this pod referenced the elbows up folks. That's basically the people who supported Mark Carney lock, stock, and barrel, that bought everything he was selling, that believed him when he said he would get the deal done, that don't think he needs to disclose his personal financial conflicts, and overlooked all the other things and still voted for him. Those are the elbows up people, the P1 Carney supporters. I've used elbows up to describe them. I don't necessarily consider that a defamatory thing, but I'm certainly not calling the folks on the left that I disagree with names unless they start it. And if you commit me with a name, I'll give it back to you. I guess the message here is, in a roundabout kind of way, because I've gone in circles, don't be afraid to be a conservative. There's nothing wrong with being a conservative. You shouldn't have to apologize for how you feel. Regular run-of-the-mill mainstream views, whether it be right or left, are perfectly acceptable in a conversation. If you want to start getting extreme and using hate speech, I don't have any time for you. Left or right. But everybody else, the vast majority of us are in the middle. We might lean right or lean left, but we're all the same. I think the middle class needs a political party, because so far I haven't seen one that's sticking up for the middle class. In fact, if somebody wants to start a party that has nothing in mind but representing the middle class, I'll happily help you out.
Scott Fox.
Well, I won't start it, but I'll certainly help. How about that?
Well, you know what? You kind of answered this next question, and it's from Jordan. But regardless, I just want you to know what he had to say. He says, I wanted to say again how much I appreciate the work you're doing to navigate and address the political landscape here in Canada. The way you've been shedding light on what's really happening in the country is something I believe we need a lot more of. That leads me to something I've been struggling with, and I'd love your thoughts, which you really just gave. It seems to me that most of us, the most important ways forward in this country is to speak honestly and openly about the facts, even when they're uncomfortable or politically inconvenient. Like you've been doing, I think that kind of transparency is essential. The moment I mention terms like mainstream media, conservative, or even far right or far left, many people disengage. So the question would be how to have those conversations with more liberal-minded people who ask political questions but seem to shut down when your answers don't align with their views.
Well, you know, there are a lot of people on the left that feel some of the folks on the right who believe some of the more mainstream conspiracy theories, they think they're crazy. And I'm sensitive to that, because I talked about conspiracy theories 2 weeks ago. I have no interest in going down that road, because there are so many people that, again, are just in the center. They're in the center. They really, at the end of the day, just want their household to be okay. They want their finances to be good. They want a nice house. They want to be able to take a vacation once a year. They want to work hard, play hard, have a nice family and nice parks and stuff for their kids to play in. They just want the dream that we all wanted. That's it. That's all they want. And when they hear things like Jeffrey Epstein, and they've been told for years that's a conspiracy theory, they shut down because they think you're going to start espousing all these conspiracy theories. I mean, eventually the truth will come out. And I think that even the folks who thought Epstein was a conspiracy theory can certainly now acknowledge that was not a conspiracy theory in any way. It was absolutely true. These things have a way of coming out. Sunlight is the best disinfectant. And when these issues get exposed, that's how progress gets made. So if you were one of the people who shut down your friends and family because they mentioned the Epstein files and you didn't want to hear it because that's a conspiracy theory, I don't know if you need to eat humble pie, but you can certainly re-engage and say, hey, listen, I didn't think that was true. I was told that wasn't true. I didn't believe you. But yeah, you were talking about this years ago. Now let's have a conversation about it. That's totally okay. We don't make fun of those people for not believing it. We welcome them now to the conversation and say, now let's go forward and make some progress together. Is specifically with conspiracy theories. One more example, and then we're going to blow through the rest, is COVID. It was a conspiracy theory that the COVID shot was creating heart issues in young men. And as the father of a young man who I encouraged to get the shot back in the day, I hate that I did that. Because now all the evidence is coming out that, yeah, that was absolutely true. Myocarditis is a real thing, and it is affecting a lot of people, particularly young men. It's not a conspiracy theory. Our own government restricted it or advised possibly that maybe young men shouldn't get the shot. Listen, I think that we need to be tolerant of each other's views. I don't blame you for not wanting to hear about certain conspiracy theories, but even on the COVID shot, we were right. Just yesterday, the numbers came out. You know, Canada's paid $18 million out in vaccine injury costs.
Whoa.
$18 million worth of settlements from people who received an injury from getting that vax.
Ooh.
It is what it is. I mean, some people said it from the beginning. I didn't believe it at first. Eventually, I saw enough evidence for me to say, okay, I don't believe that shot is safe or effective anymore. And now we are where we are. We can have a conversation about it because now it's in the mainstream. Everybody can agree. Yeah, there were some issues around that shot, and maybe it shouldn't have received that rubber stamp approval until we knew all of the actual side effects. Not to say the shot shouldn't be available. If you want a shot, go get a shot. I don't care. It doesn't really matter to me. But if I'd known then what I know now, maybe I would have felt differently. Just the way it is.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We appreciate your views on it and all the answers you've provided so far. Now,
you sound like a detective interviewing me.
I'm just so interested. I love hearing people's perspective, and
so do I.
I just love it.
And you know what? I mean, there's probably people listening right now thinking, I don't agree with him. I want to hear from you. Yeah. I love debate, and I love to hear another side of it. And I don't pretend to know all of it by any means. I love another perspective.
Oh, I just enjoy
Reach out.
it. Okay, now we're going to switch over to the thing that a lot of people you've struck a nerve with, silent date guy. You struck a nerve and we want answers. So we're going to start with Sonia. Hey, Scott, you are killing Anna and I with the secret identity of the silent date guy story. It's bad enough that we don't know what he looks like or the girl, but now you have us wondering who the celeb was at her house and now the NFL fullback. I'm trying to think who this guy she was talking to and calling out his name, who he was. She's guessing Kyle I don't even know. He's a football player. I guess he'd be the type to throw around $300 at the guy to leave. Can you see his name here? You say it.
Kyle. I can't say it. I can't see it. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Not without my glasses.
Oh my gosh.
I'm that age now where I can't see things far away without my glasses.
But you're not going to let us know anyways. And it's not a Kyle because you won't let us know.
Yeah, it's not a Kyle. Listen, I'm telling the story because I find the story fascinating, but there are some personal lives involved here. And if I give out names, that might change the dynamic of this. And I'm not going to do that until he says or she says, go ahead and do it. And at this point, it's still not even clear if she knows.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Well, Sonia, I guess we'll have to wait and see. Justin, he should just ride this out and let her take care of him. She definitely isn't the long-term kind of girlfriend material. Keep his options open with other women.
I find that a fascinating take. I don't know how you know that she's not the one. Maybe she is. Again, if you just strip it all back to the core, this is a woman who is busy but successful. A mom who likes her free time on the weekends when she has it, when the kid's at dad's house and stuff. And when she's free, she wants a boy. And my friend just happened to be the guy who got picked. And he's living a great life. He's being spoiled a little bit. And I think he certainly likes that and the attention. But she gets what she wants. He gets what he wants. Could they do this long term? You never know. She just doesn't like the mundane day-to-day good morning text, good night text, and all the other stuff in between that a lot of relationships have. It's just not of interest to her.
Okay, well, Brandon has an interesting take. Hey, Scott, my question to Silent Date Guy is, what did the ex-husband do to lose this girl? She just wants to hang out on weekends and not talk on weekdays.
That's a good question. I don't know why her first marriage didn't work out, why she's got an ex-husband. She seems all right. I don't know. Maybe,
she sounds pretty cool to me.
Maybe he was the problem. I don't know. Maybe he's the rich one. Oh, who knows?
Ooh, the story. All right. Next up, we have John. If you're talking about Silent Date Guy on the podcast and the radio show, I have no idea how this hasn't gotten back to her yet. Somebody knows somebody who knows somebody that it would get back to her. And now he's considering coming on and talking about it in person. How does she not know that this whole story is out there?
Yeah, some people don't listen. There's millions of podcasts out there. And if she's into, I don't know, true crime or she's into something else, maybe she doesn't listen to podcasts like this. That's fine. Maybe she doesn't listen to the radio. Let me put it this way. Just today, I got a note from somebody who said, I really miss hearing you on the radio. I've been back on the radio for 3 months. I didn't know that not everybody knew that or didn't know that. Yeah. You know, some people just don't flip around and don't have time for traditional radio. And that's okay. I'm going to assume that she either doesn't listen to radio or listens to another station, or she hasn't heard this podcast. It's also possible she does know and isn't telling him that she knows.
Oh my gosh. Well, we want him on the show, so keep working on that, Scott, okay?
Okay.
All right. Next up, we have Melissa. Hey, Scott, just finished listening to today's podcast. I'm with Anna. I'd be pissed about the missing hours and the NFL guy's name. Tell him we want him on the pod as long as he's fully okay with being a boy toy and purely in a sexual relationship. He should continue having fun. If he catches feelings, though, it's either discuss it with her or run for the hills.
Hey, there's somebody advocating for communication. Ooh. I like that. Hey, listen, I'm starting to catch some feelings here. I really like you, and I don't know where this is going. There's nothing wrong with having that conversation. I just think you got to pick your moments.
Is he catching feels? Have you heard?
He just likes what's going on. Okay. He's just happy. I think, you know what? Honestly, and I know he's going to hear this episode, so I'll just say it. I think he likes having somebody. You know, like everybody wants somebody or something. And I think he likes having somebody that he can spend time with on the weekends. He works during the week and he's got other things on the go. He goes to the gym every day like everybody else or people who do. Not me, but he does. I have no problem with that. I think that if he is catching feelings, tell her about it. That's probably a good place to start. And maybe that can mitigate some damage. You know, if he says, I'm starting to catch some feels here. Maybe that's where she shuts it down, and maybe that's for the best. Or maybe she feels the same way and doesn't want to go first. There's a lot of possibilities.
All right. Well, Kim says, OMG, silent date guy. I agree with Anna. As long as he is fine being a boy toy, keep dating. This could be what he needs after the divorce.
And maybe it is.
Yeah.
Maybe it is. Maybe this is like the intermediary relationship between your marriage and your next serious one. There's always a couple in between. Maybe this is it.
Yeah, there's the rebounds, right? And Kim goes on to say, she likes to play, but only on her terms about silent date girl, and she will keep him around until she's done. He may not be her only toy. She sounds like some of the guys I know that don't want any sort of commitment, and as soon as there is any hint of it, they're out and done. I hope I am wrong.
I hope you're wrong too, but I'm not going to write that off as a possibility. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay, Ken, let's be real. Now that I know the football player and the Friends star, all I want to know is if anyone else picked up on your friend's hint in the one podcast, or was it just me? No plans to tell anyone who either of these celebrities are. I'll just play it out. Just curious if others picked up on your hint or clue as well. Hope you enjoyed your birthday. Loving your return home to the Z family. It's where you belong.
Thank you.
What hint? What is he talking about? What friend hint?
I'm not sure either, actually. I don't know what he means by that. If I did give out a hint, I don't know that was me giving out a hint. It may have just inadvertently been a comment that I made.
I listened to that so many times. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay, if you just let me know which direction, Ken. I'm confused a little bit. All right, next up we have Cheryl. It was great about the podcast. 2 questions. What did she introduce him as to the football player? Was it her friend? Next question. How many letters are in the football player's first name?
I'm not telling you that, but if you're asking that, then you're on the right track. Not answering that.
Oh.
That's not a question where she hasn't thought a lot about this.
Whoa, thank you, Cheryl. You just helped us out. Okay.
What was the other part of the question? Not the initials?
How did she introduce your friend to the football player?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Like sometimes when you introduce, you don't need to put a label on it. If somebody walked through that door right now, I might just say, this is Anna Almeida. I might not say, this is my friend Anna. This is my co-host Anna. You can just do names, and I'll assume it was that. Or she said boyfriend. I don't know. Like, I'm not sure if he even noticed the nuance of that.
All right. Well, Joe, I think your friend should just make a run for it. I don't know how they don't see each other throughout the week because she's busy working, but then sets up all these big events and trips. And what happened in Las Vegas with her disappearing for a few hours doesn't sit well with me. That's not normal. She should have stood up for him when he got offered $300 to get lost from the NFL guy. Not cool. It's degrading. He's going to end up getting hurt if he starts having feelings for her. Thanks, Scott. Love your podcast. You and Anna are doing a great job.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's a good take. Thank you.
Yes. Linda, hey, Scott. So me and my husband just listened to today's pod for Silent Date Guy update. Oh, man, this is juicy. I meant to ask the other week when he went over to her house and met the celebrity. Was it Anna Kendrick? Haha, just a guess. And I know you probably can't tell us, but maybe a winky face? Anyways, great storytelling. Always awesome.
Love that. Great feedback. Thank you.
Yeah. Jen.
And no, I'm not answering that.
I didn't think so. That's why I just kept going. All right. Jen, love the silent date guy episode. They need to keep going. As Anna said, he's the boy toy and clearly loving it. The football player is suspicious. I think she knew him prior to that day. Looking forward to another episode. So we need more dates, Scott.
Okay. All right.
We need more dates. Andreas, yes, he should go on another date because from the start, at least from when he realized that he's a boy toy and he's accepted that role. Now, at no point, at least, what we heard, did he say he will be okay with being disrespected by another man? I don't care if he's an NFL ring wearer. I think he needs to be clear with her and tell her that kind of thing is not going to be accepted again. If she brushes him off, then he's going to stand his ground and tell her to beat it, because even as a boy toy, he can't allow that kind of disrespect.
Let me ask you, if she were sitting at the poker table with her celebrity girlfriend, and the celebrity girlfriend said, we're going to be playing poker for a while here. Rather than watch, here's $300. Go play, and if you win anything, we're going to split it. Would it be as big a deal if it was a woman that told him basically to scram? Because everybody says he's been disrespected, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm just wondering, is it possible, though, that people are reading a little too much into this because it was a guy to a guy?
I still think it's insulting.
And on some level, it probably was.
I do. And if I were her and that was my friend or whomever, I would have interjected and said, yo, man, don't do that. If anything, I would have been like, hey, do you want me to throw you the extra few hundred so you can go? And, maybe that conversation. Regardless, I feel it's disrespectful. All right. Let's move on to Jackie. Hey, Scott, hope you had a great birthday. Mine was today, so you share the same birthday week. Silent date guy. Okay, my thoughts are that he is just going to have fun with this girl, nothing long term. As for the talking in the sleep, well, I talk in my sleep, and I even tell people to F off. It's quite funny. But I will also say random names like that, too. I think she was probably excited to meet him, but I wouldn't put it past her if she did sleep with the guy, or at least gave him...
That escalated quickly.
Or at least gave him her number so he can call her. That might be more like it. Your friend should go out with her again and have fun. If she is anything like me, it would be great to have a man for sex and cuddles and whatever, and then they can go home. All the good stuff without the responsibility.
Interesting. There's a lot of people that feel that way.
I love it. Yeah. All right. Last one. GT. Laugh my ass off. Silent date guy is winning on all levels. I was in a similar situation years ago with a girl. The name, she was sleeping and it came out. I almost went down a rabbit hole. They dated for a while. It didn't work out. So his advice is don't look too far unless you find a reason to. Hell, I sleepwalk and say stupid crap during it. It doesn't mean anything at all.
Well said. Thank you, everybody. Hope you had a great week. Hope you have a great weekend. Another new episode of Scott Fox After 9 is coming your way on Monday. Until then, I will leave you with the sounds of Pat James and The Whole Truth. Hey Now, this song available on Spotify and wherever you get music. Anna, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
We'll see you Monday. Oh.